Welcome to Care Sandwich, the podcast where we dive into the success journeys of law firm owners across the country. I'm Margarita Eberline, your host and the founder of Marketing Boss, a fractional chief marketing officer firm for law firms. On this show, we'll explore the challenges, strategies, and victories that have shaped law firms and how they wrap every interaction with care. Because we believe that caring isn't just a value, it's a strategy for success. So grab your favorite sandwich, sit back, and let's dig into a conversation filled with insight, inspiration, and of course, a lot of care. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Care Sandwich. I have Narissa, and Narissa is a divorce attorney. Dun, dun, dun. What a fun topic we have today. For those of you that are listening and have been divorced like me, whoa, we got a lot to talk about here. Narissa, tell us about yourself. What do you do? How do you do it well? How do you take care of people?
Hi, I am, as you said, I'm a divorce attorney, divorce and family law. So divorce, custody, legitimations, I do all those things. I am also divorced. So I know what my clients have been going through or are about to go through. And I also have a little girl and a bonus son. So yeah.
Well, Narissa, I'm going to just say it because I just have to. Narissa, you are my divorce attorney that I chose when I was going through my process. What an honor it is to interview you. I would love for you to share how your approach is different maybe from what you've seen out there, because I know we've had this conversation a million times and I bet I could answer the question for you because I went through the process. But in your words, what is your heart? How do you do things different? What is your approach?
I think I'm taking into consideration this is just not a case, just another case. This is a person going through a life change. And so understanding that, I know that there are emotions behind these decisions, and I take in consideration those emotions. I don't try to dismiss them, but you know, we have to take those things in consideration when we're making decisions going forward. So I like to think of more of it a forward-thinking divorce attorney. Like, this is just one step moving forward into your next phase of your life and whatever that may look like.
And I know we've had conversations that even, you know, with like family law in general, whether it's, you know, writing a prenup or doing all these other things. I know I focus on divorce, it's just easy to talk about, but there's so many other things that you do, you know, Narissa, that one thing that I noticed is before even getting into a conversation about the practicality of whatever had to be decided in that moment, you are really good about touching my pulse, and I know you do that with your other clients. I'm going to outline the formula. I don't know if it was a formula that you did intentionally or if it is just your personality, but it was almost like in my brain, I noticed a pattern because I'm a data analyst, right? It was always like, okay, check the emotional pulse and then gather any new information and then provide the best possible advice, taking into consideration the person's headspace. Did I get that right? Like, that was what I picked up on as your pattern.
I never thought about it like that, but typically that's how the framework works, right? Because they may not be in the headspace or could have the capacity to handle certain situations, or they need to handle a situation or make a decision, and I need to know what direction to approach it.
Now, I'm going to say something a little heavy because I have friends that have been divorced and you are not their divorce lawyers, and I've heard divorce attorney, and I've heard some horror stories. What would you say to an attorney who's listening to this and they're a divorce and family law attorney and they're like, yeah, I acknowledge it's a very emotional process. Yes, it's important. But then what some of my friends experienced were, it was almost like the attorney didn't have time for all that. And I understood it because I help attorneys grow their business, right? So I understood it to a certain degree. So now I'm going to ask you the question, how do you balance managing your time and being respectful too of this is a practice area where, you know, you are going to be billing for your time, right? So how do you manage getting into the person's emotions and headspace and touching their pulse with moving the needle on what needs to happen with that case and really focusing on the decisions that need to be made? Like, I imagine the attorneys, because I like to think of the best in people, right? I imagine the attorneys that my friends had that made them feel like they didn't care. I imagine that they did care, but they were probably just trying to focus on what they needed to focus on.
They have to take the emotion out of it. I think I probably factor the emotion into the time. So,
okay. Like some of it maybe, right?
right. And also the way that I build is a little differently so that I can not focus on the ticking clock, right? So that I can take the time to, you know, the person needs to vent. I'm not a therapist. I will tell you that I'm not a therapist.
Yeah.
I'm not
Well,
a
none of us are.
psychologist.
I just play one on TV, right?
Right, and I always recommend one, but I just know that
Yes.
if they can't get past this moment, they can't get to the next moment to make the decision. They can't hear what comes next, so they have to talk to someone because they may not be talking to their friends or family and let them know all the details that of the things that may be going on. But their attorney, they're letting them know because it's confidential.
Right. So what I'm hearing is that if I am a family attorney like you or a divorce attorney like you, and I'm listening to this and I'm like, I don't have time for that. Maybe something that I can test is flat rates or some sort of billing structure where, and maybe I need to pay attention to some patterns of, maybe I need to add, I'm throwing out a number, 10, 15 minutes
Yeah.
already, right?
Right.
10, 15 minutes. I know I was your easiest client, right?
No, you
I
were the easy ones, yeah. But you know, there also are attorneys whose job is to be focused more on an amicable form of divorce, right? Not as adversarial. And I think I lean more towards the amicable divorce route. I try to work things out. I try to bring the parties together in some kind of form or fashion before we get to the litigation stage or the adversarial stage, because it doesn't.
I got you.
Yeah.
So I'm grinning a little bit because again, I have a whole bunch of friends that, like, it's not like we chose it that way, but I don't know, maybe. And we've had some serious conversations. And as a marketer, who I talk to law firms and I ask them, who is your target client? Every single family law / divorce attorney was, I want non-contentions, I want high net worth, I want right?
Right.
But who's gonna help everybody else, right? But
see,
I hear
the
you.
thing
I
is,
think
when they don't, it's not necessarily that the people are in disagreement. They may not even know what it is that they need to discuss or how to discuss it. So when I say adversarial, I don't necessarily mean that you're already adversarial. You're getting a divorce. Let's put it out there, right?
right.
You are.
That's a fair clarification.
Yeah. So you're already out there getting a divorce, but there may be ways that you don't know that you can navigate this, right? You don't know how you can that you can refinance a house and you can stay in the home and you can still, and the other person still get money out of it. You don't know that there are parenting plans that you can put in place where both parties have a lot of time with the kids, and it's not just a cookie cutter thing. You just don't know these things because you don't go through most people don't go through divorces,
right.
you know, 3-4 times, but you just don't know.
Yeah, and I can't remember if you sent. I'm pretty sure you did send me something. Resources. Let's talk about resources, and especially in your practice area, when you're proactive about providing your folks resources to get ahead of, like you described, like you try to think ahead, right? To get ahead of, oh, they're going to start communicating through a parenting app. Let me give them a checklist of the best way to communicate and diffuse conflict, right? Talk to me about that. Like, what do you do? How did you develop all those ideas and how do you implement them?
I think it's just the idea of the holistic part of the representation, right? this person may need a way to communicate with their spouse because their spouse is could be defined as a difficult communicator, and therefore, because I don't want to use narcissist because I feel like narcissism is like overused, but people are using, you know,
I have learned.
so there are tactics, there are psychologists, there are studies on how to communicate with individuals who are difficult. And there's a whole area of high conflict divorce studies and high conflict resources for people who may be going through this, how to handle it emotionally, how to handle it physically, because it's something that's affecting your whole being, right? So there I
Right.
feel like if I can get them in at least a resource, right, or give my clients something that can help a therapist, um, a financial manager, someone, it could be anything that they need.
Okay.
We'll find those resources and try to give it to them if it's needed.
And you do this proactively, so I think that's wonderful. And honestly, this could probably fit any practice area. But I know for me, when I experienced this process with you, I really liked having checklists and things that I can look at so
Hmm.
that I didn't have to call you for every little thing. I had tools, I had resources. So I do think that's super important.
And for some people, that the checklists are overwhelming, right?
Oh, well,
Yeah,
yeah, there's that.
yeah. So for
Yeah.
someone like you who's analytical, data driven, I want to see the roadmap ahead. Checklists are good, right? For someone who's like overwhelmed, a checklist could add to the level of overwhelm. So it kind of
That's
is a case on
true.
case basis, right?
There, I hope you're enjoying the conversation and your sandwich as much as we are. I want to take a moment to share a few words about our sponsor, Marketing Boss. If you're a law firm owner looking to supercharge your growth, our team at Marketing Boss is here to help. We've got over a decade of experience and a proven track record, and we specialize in growing law firms like yours with data-driven marketing leadership. So if you own a law firm and you're ready to get a predictable, steady flow of cases from your marketing, let's connect at marketing-boss.com.
What if you had then a video series for people that feel more comfortable just binge watching videos? Hey, if you're in the middle of a divorce, rather than binge watching Netflix at night, why don't you watch these how to navigate a contentious divorce what was the term that I learned? A covert vulnerable narcissist. like just watch these videos to learn how they think, how they feel, how to
I mean,
avoid, explosions.
it's always helpful. I mean, I think it's a good idea. Hmm.
Yeah, I like that. I just came up with that. Okay, so video series.
Yes.
Let's add that to our checklist. This is great, Narissa. Are there any tips if somebody's thinking about going into your practice area?
Hmm.
How do you know what type of people that you want to help? Because you also are very clear on who your target avatar is, not just like the demo and
Hmm.
the high net worth, like, see, whatever, but like even personality wise, walk us through how did you arrive at that, like how did you do that, like why did you decide this particular avatar?
It was it was trial. It was a trial basis. It was it came with time. I was like
Yeah.
everyone else when I started my practice. I was taking everything that come in the door, right? Because we had to make revenue, had to make income. But I began to get burned out really, really quickly. And so there was a resource someone put online, another attorney who had a kind of like a grid guide what of like an ABC client and
Okay.
certain red flags. So as you
Oh,
actually practice, there's certain red flags that we notice with individuals, and sometimes you can. Some attorneys can they do really well with demanding, high conflict people because it's going to build their. I mean, they're billing, right? Whereas I'm more
yeah.
so. I don't want to deal with the billing. If you're gonna just fight for the sake of fighting, then you don't want to come to me.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
no, and I mean,
and so
not
early
to get
on,
too
I figured
personal,
out,
but
yeah, if you've been through
that
four,
was one of the, yeah,
if you've been through four
no, go ahead.
attorneys already, I'm not your girl.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. The fact that you had clarity about that that's what you like to work with
Hmm.
made it easy for me to pick you as an attorney because that's what I was looking for. I think a person that likes to, like just be at peace, like, here, just take it, like whatever, like, that's chill, wants a chill attorney, right? And then people that just want to fight and stick it to their ex or whatever, like, that's just a completely different vibe. And, and
Right.
yeah,
And
you're right. There are attorneys.
I'm not saying I don't stick it to the person when it's need to be stuck to, right? There are times where
Yeah, no,
you need, yeah, there are times where you need to fight. You need to be aggressive. You need to be more adversarial. If there's a cussy sometimes where a child doesn't need to be in a location with one parent or another, you got to fight for your client. I'm not saying I don't fight
yeah.
for my client. I just say I know that some people are really petty. I've seen people fight about bricks in the yard.
Oh my God, I
So
kind of want to hear the story. Oh
yeah,
my God.
I've seen those type of things where it's fighting for the sake of fighting. So can you imagine paying your attorney $1,500 to go argue about rocks?
Wow. That happens. God bless
Mhm.
you and everybody in your profession because that's just intense. So, Narissa, what advice would you give to an attorney that's thinking about going into your practice area or that is in your practice area and is thinking maybe this isn't for me and you want to just highlight like why this is a good practice area, why you enjoy it, how to do it well so that you don't lose your mind?
Oh no, I love the people, right? I love helping the people. It's You're gonna see different things every day. You're not gonna be in a practice area like bankruptcy where you see the same thing every day and there's always cookie cutter. Family law will always bring you for a loop. It would always be something different with every single case. The satisfaction of helping a client or helping them resolve their case and seeing them like a couple years down the line is like the best thing ever because now it's like Margarita is like the perfect example of this. She's like the has transitioned to her next phase of her life, and it's like awesome to see, because we came a long way, and so I
Oh
love,
yeah.
yeah, and so I love to um, see the transition and helping them to resolve this thing that they may not can navigate on their own. And that's, I
Yeah.
grew up helping people and seeing people helping people, and I'm able to do that.
Yeah. No, I love that. I'm gonna do my video testimonial by the way because I know right now I'm interviewing you for other
Yeah.
attorneys, but I have to say that if you're watching slash listening to this and you're thinking maybe I want to hire her, right? Because the audience is attorneys, but maybe
Hmm.
somebody that's not an attorney or is an attorney. My thought process was I want to find an attorney who has my values, my principles, and similar to how you described, like I'm not like I mean I do have an alter ego I call Petty Margarita. My brain does go there, but I'm not a petty person, right?
Hmm.
I'm a practical person, but I do believe in drawing boundaries when they need to be drawn, and I
Right.
do believe in being firm but fair. And that was exactly what I experienced with you. And the other thing that I appreciated about working with you is that you always thought about what's best for my kids because that's what was important to me. And you helped me always go back to that, right? There were moments where I had to make really tough decisions about how to proceed legally when on the surface I thought this is best for my kids. But then the tension that would come with me pursuing that path, you helped me like really look at that too and factor that in. Like, okay, maybe yes, this is better for my kids on the surface, but maybe the aftermath is not worth it. Maybe I need to like think about this differently. And the other thing that I appreciated about working with you is that you are also a mom and you really help me process, if I'm going to get a little personal, when my two oldest
Yeah.
signed an affidavit to not like live with me even 50%, like you help me really look at the bigger picture that at the end of the day these are my children and my relationship with them is always going to be there. And this is just something that they're going through, that this is how they're processing it, this is what they're wanting. And I'm so excited to say that, like, after all that, I'm so happy about my relationship with all of my children. And I feel like, had I maybe had a different attorney, you know, maybe they wouldn't have had that conversation with me, and I would have been devastated. And I honestly wasn't. I mean, between you and my parenting coach that I have, I took it so well. I was like, okay, this is what they want. I respect it, you know, and I let it go. I processed it, and I focused on, there's the legal part, and then there's also the mom part. And the mom part, like, my kids are going to be my kids. I carried them, I birthed them, I breastfed them. Like, I'm there, right? And so I really did appreciate that aspect of working with you. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk / testimonial here. If you're thinking about hiring, if somebody's thinking about hiring you, how do they get a hold of you to have this wonderful experience that I had, if that's what they want?
No, it's good. I'm online. Google Juitt-Jackson Law, JUITT-JacksonLaw.com. You can call 404-654-3782. That's our office. We will be happy to help you and to help you navigate through these issues.
Awesome. And Narissa, I have to ask you one more question before we wrap up, because, you know, it is called the Care Sandwich podcast. So what is your favorite sandwich? No judgment.
Oh my God. I've been thinking about this. I don't know what my favorite sandwich is. There was this Cuban place that I used to go to, and it had this, it was like this panini Cuban sandwich. It was so good. It had so much flavor in this one little panini sandwich.
Yum. I like it. And I don't know what it is about Cuban bread, but like, it just smells good, and it's just, I love that it's crunchy on the outside and like soft and
so delicious. I'm telling you. And then if you get the soup with it and then dip it with the soup, oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that does sound amazing. Well, there you have it. Narissa, family law, divorce, and likes Cuban sandwiches. If this is the lawyer for you, you know how to hit her up. If you want to refer her cases, if you're listening and you are an attorney and you're like, I need somebody that I can refer these divorce cases, I don't want them, she's your girl. Once again, Narissa, how can they get a hold of you?
Juitt-Jackson Law, JUITT, JacksonLaw.com, or call at 404-654-3782.
Thank you so much. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next episode of Care Sandwich. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed the show.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Care Sandwich. Remember, the way we care for our clients, our teams, and ourselves can make all the difference in our success. Until next time, keep caring, keep growing, and I'll see you on the next episode of Care Sandwich.